Alright, we're back over here. So I got the I got this all routed through here. So I got these tightened up, got lock washers over there. Got them protected. Exhaust pipe comes right through here. It's got plenty of room. This distributor wire is going to go up inside of here at some point, but that has to get done yet. It pretty much goes through here. Kind of like this, over to that area. When the distributor gets rebuilt, they'll figure that one out, I guess. So anyway, that'll come back down here and get tucked in a little bit. So anyway, that's where that goes for now. So for now, I'm going to leave it poking through out of there so it's out of the way and not shorting against anything. Okay, we got our generator wire went down through here, underneath all of this, here, circle up around, come up the back side over here. And we got tied in here. It's armature, that's field, and like I said, this is your battery over here, which goes across. That comes into this one here. We got the ground wire right here, which goes down to here. And then we got the starter relay, which is buried up under here. So this is the hot, this is the trigger, and this is the output going to the solenoid over there, which powers up the solenoid. I don't have the wire disconnected right now because I want to test it. I'm not sure if this is this one or this one is the trigger wire. I think number 2 is a trigger, number 3 is output, but we got to test that. So I can go look in the comic book and tell me how to do it, maybe, if I can read them stupid ass schematics they had back then, or I can just hook it up and see what happens. So we know this is our hot wire, we know this is our battery terminal, so that's connected. We need a ground wire. So we hook up our ground wire down here, and that's connected. This here's our test light over here. Okay, test light has to be grounded, so we hook that over here to our ground wire. Coming off the oil pump over here. I hate these stupid ass protective boots. Can't get anything done. Okay, this should light up now when I touch something. Oh, look at that, it lights up. I don't know if you can see that. There, now you can see it. Stand back a little bit. Okay, so we got our ground wire down here, coming off our battery. Here's our ground, going to ground. Here's our hot wire, it goes up to our battery. I got my test light going to my oil pump stud right there. So now everything's ready to test. So we know we got power to everything here, and we got power to here now because someone hooked up the wire on the other side of the regulator. So now we got hot wire there. Now this here is going to be our trigger wire, which goes off to our starter button up on the handlebar. So we turn the ignition switch on. This should light up when I hit the starter button, which it does, and this should light up too. See how it does not light up? Lights up there. This is not lighting up. So either the relay is bad or I got it connected wrong. So, see, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Let's assume I connected it wrong. So maybe we just reverse these 2 wires and see if the unit works correctly. If it doesn't work correctly, then that means we have a bad starter relay. And we don't know if it worked because the bike wasn't running when I got it here. So I guess one way of finding out, right? Most of the time these old crappy looking parts actually work pretty good. And they're usually a hell of a lot better than the import crap you buy nowadays. Back in the day, they actually gave a crap about what they built, unlike now. Okay. So now, power. Ignition on. Uh-oh, you hear that noise? That's a good sign. Look at that. Light. Light. Okay, so obviously it's connected correctly now, and it's actually trying to do something. You can hear the points in here working. It's actually a field coil and with a point going like this and there like that. So it's a big electric switch basically. Okay, so that's working correctly. So now we can hook it over to our solenoid over there. And then if we hook a battery cable up here, not just jumper wires, we should be able to actually spin the motor over. That'd be different. Okay, so now I got to figure out my battery cable routing. So the first thing I gotta do is disconnect all the hot wires off the ignition, off the battery I mean, so we don't start having a mess of an arcing condition going on. So right now everything's hooked up now except for the cables. Stuff out of the way and the ground is disconnected. Okay, so that's a cable. Okay, ground cable's pretty simple. It's right here. It's already connected. Now we got to get a connection over to our solenoid on the other side over there, way over there, and then we got to get to the starter motor, which is right over here. So we have 3 cables to choose from. So we got 3/8 hole, 3/8 hole, which is not right. And we have small hole, big hole, big hole. Now you notice how this is 1/4 inch, 5/16, 3/8, 3/8. So the battery post is 1/4 inch, so this should be our positive cable. And this is a 1/4 inch also, but we can put a 5/16 down there in the starter. Now the next thing is what length cables do we have? These appear to be, when we unroll them, up here to here, the same length. Okay, so I'm going to use the smallest hole here. I'm going to use for the battery because it's the most critical. So the battery obviously is going to be up here on this post. This has to go all the way over there to start a solenoid, whatever it takes to get it over there. Straighten this out a little bit and poke it on through over there. Now I'm going to do this one first, which is the starter motor, because I need to fish this through more stuff to get over that area. So we got to figure out the route we're going to take. We already had one kind of worked out before. Remember, the clutch lever moves back and forth quite a bit, so it goes way over to here like this when it works. So you can't have anything sitting right there. We have to go over that. If you look up in there, you can see we got clearance way up inside. We got to do clearance over there. We got the clutch rod right there. So we got a lot of stuff we got to clear. And on this side over here, where's my booty at? I lost my booty. Here's my booty. Don't forget our booty. I didn't have any new ones, so I found a used one. Because he didn't have one. That goes right here like that. It protects your cables and stuff. We're also missing a nut. We have to find that. Okay, this is pretty simple. It goes right here. It's a small one. That's easy. This one here comes off the battery. This one goes to the starter. Now you see the cables right through here. So when you pull your clutch up here, you can see how the stuff all works. Like that. So you got that much room to work with in there without hitting stuff. So I don't really want to go through there too much, but we had it before going across here. I didn't like that at all. So maybe now it'll work better. I'm not sure. Otherwise we got to go around this other direction over here. And that's where the lever's going back and forth. Now as long as we're over the top of the lever, it shouldn't be a problem. So I either got to go in front of this and short out against the oil tank, or go behind it over the top of the lever. The other option is you have to go down way low, but the problem with low is we have a clutch arm rod going back and forth. We don't want that to rub against it, so it's going to be hard to make a loop like this with a thick cable where you go up, over, and back down, around. It's better just go up, across, and something like that, or just go straight this way. So that's what I got to figure out. So we don't know which path is going to work the best. So we just have to get in there and start fishing around and see what happens. And that's always the fun part. We gotta get over there on the solenoid on the far side at some point. Okay, so here's our cable. Let's see. First thing we gotta do is figure out what we're gonna do on this. We know it's going through here somehow. probably easier to fish it through the other way. So we'll do that. Got a lot of length on this cable, a lot more than we need. Try over the top on the front first. Let's see here with my fishing tool on the floor. Yeah, good place for it. Floor always works good. Okay, where did I poke that cable through at? It's coming through right here. Got a bunch of other stuff already in the way. Comes right through here. Alright, got that right there. Look for the correct nut. Found it. There's a star nut we needed. So that should be the right one for the other side. So let's go ahead and hook that up on that side. Too much of a twist to go that way. It's got the same problem I had before. It was really rubbing up on the front of that bracket, how I don't like it. And this has to go underneath the clutch arm and come back around. So I don't like this method. I'm going to pull this back out and then come back on the top to the back side. This time I'm going to go across the back, over the top of everything. Okay, where's it at now? It disappeared. Yeah, it's somewhere. I can't even see where it's at. He's trying to go to the back side of the fender or something, I'm not sure. Wherever it is, it ain't supposed to be there. Alright, so we look at our cable here. It's got a big 90 right in here, which is not helping us. Just got to bend that out of it. Sort of bend it how the shape we think it needs to be. Drops in a lot easier now. Okay, I'm on the solenoid. It looks like we're alongside the clutch on here. Alright, looks a lot better. Of course, now we have a lot less room in here now. We put a bunch of wires in my way right here. Let's try to hook this up. Cable's on. This cable's way too long. That actually does not make it easier. Good another cable. We got a lot of room and go at the back. Suck up a lot of length. We just have to watch out for the hose clamp under there, which is pretty close to where it's not supposed to be. And we're going to be into the hose clamp on the oil tank, which is not good. If I force it down, soak up a bunch of length. Everything's in the wrong spot over here. That's on. I think I had these tight. Double check my connections, make sure they're all tight. Well, now, let's see. Okay, I got a lot more room this way. Yeah, it should push out of the way once I'm on. Right now I'm against the clutch arm, up underneath. But when I pull the cable back to fit on the solenoid, it should come back. Make clearance. Okay, so I'm good with that. So now we need to get the other cable, which is the floor. It's right here. That needs to go all the way in the same spot. This one's going to route differently though. This one's going to go right over the top right here. Go across. I'm going to go on the other side and hook it up. Okay, so I need a 9/16 right here. What are you doing, Scooby? I think it's a 3/8 wrench. Okay. And I need my nose picker. Where's my nose picker? Over here. Oh, I need something. I need my flat bill pliers too, which are missing. Okay. Can't really see anything from that view. Let me get my way this way. Okay. Now you can kind of see what I'm working on. Maybe. Okay, this does not fit in here right because it's the wrong angle, so I got to flatten this curve out in here, this bend. Definitely a thick cable. Also need a twist in the cable. Like that. Okay, that goes on there like that. Problem with this is the cable's so thick. It has to bend to fit. If you tighten up these plastic solenoid lids too much, it snaps them. It takes a lot of force to bend this thing in like I'm doing it right now. Okay, it made it. Good with that. Now where we got this one coming through at? Okay, This one appears to be bent wrong also. You're forcing the stick cables don't like to bend. Yes, I'm doing all this before I put the boot on. It's hard to check your fitment when you got the boot on. Just makes one more layer of crap you gotta deal with. So. Post is loose a little bit. I gotta tighten the post on the back so I know it's loose. Okay, so the routing looks good on that side. And it'll work on this side too. But not if we put a custom battery on. The cable's too short. Like they usually are, a couple inches. For this application, it's good. Wrong side. Okay, so all this looks pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and take these cables off. Every time you put these cables on, they seem to be bent wrong, so either I'm screwed up on how I do stuff or everybody else is. I'm not sure which his problem is. I just always assume nobody's thinking what they're doing. That's why they get all ground up and chewed up. Okay, so first thing I do is check the hardware, make sure it's tight. This one here appeared to be loose a little bit. Okay, remember you gotta be careful, these things do break pretty easy. Okay, so now all this goes inside the boot through the hole right here. You shove it in. Now some of these boots have this hole on the bottom. The later ones, I've seen wires put through them, or they might just be a drain hole for water. I'm not sure what their purpose is on the newer bikes. They started doing that in the later 70s, 80s, somewhere in there. Probably in the 80s. Okay, that goes in there like that. Now we failed to put this wire in there first to see where it was supposed to go, but I know it needs to go in here, so we just shove it in the hole. Okay, I need all this stuff jammed into the boot here. We're going to get the hardest one first, which is our lower one. Okay. Goes on there like that. And it goes on there next. Put that on first. And our other one, I got jammed up there. That's under a lot of tension. Okay, let's show you what I'm doing here before I cover this all up. Okay, so you got the lower wire coming through here, straight in. This is going to be rotated up a little bit because you have a narrow window in your boot. Plus that gets it off of the clutch rod here. The trigger wire is usually not a problem. It's small. It goes all kinds of places. This is our plus 12 volt wire right off the battery cable. And you got to get that routed over here too. So the one going in the back here is the starter. The power one's going straight on its coil straight this way in front of the tank over there. After you're all done, you got to put this boot and rip it across here. Get over the whole thing. It snaps on behind here. And you remember not to break the post, which isn't always a fun thing. See, newer bikes are a lot easier. They don't have all these external wires on them. Maybe that's why they made all those new improvements, huh? Yeah, so the first thing you do is get this one. You gotta make sure you bend it down enough to get it off the top post, because it wants to go up the top post. Good. It's gotta be up high enough to clear the bottom one. Go ahead and tighten it up in there now. Hold it up higher with your finger. Make it as tight, you gotta keep it from going up higher, so you gotta hold it. Okay. Now we get to tighten the top one. And obviously the battery should be disconnected when you're doing all this. If not, you have a nice spark storm. Okay, this one you gotta push it down as you tighten it. Okay. Okay, now you just take it and pull this thing around. Take your nose picker here to get up underneath it. Kind of help you get it up under there. So putting a boot on it. Okay, get on about halfway, and then you kind of push it on, and here it'll go pop. You can rotate it a little bit once it's on there. Put it off here, you can see it. Alright, so now we got this thing on. It's all the way back over the edge there. Now this rotates a little bit, so you can rotate to get that kind of semi-covered up a little bit more. Goes there. I'm not sure why this wire is way up like that. I wasn't expecting that to go up like that. Usually that hangs down low. I'm not sure what's going on. It's just the cable's got it held in like that. I don't really like that, so I'm going to do something to get that to go back down between. I don't want the load on it. It could short through right here, which would engage your starter motor full time. That'd be a nasty thing to happen when you're going down the road. That'd make all kinds of racket if that was to happen. Okay, so bend the cable forward, push that down. Get the load off of it there. There we go. Push it back. Okay, so now it's not in the danger zone anymore. So you see how it's right here, it's free to float back and forth a little bit right here. The wire doesn't feel too good, so it's almost like it's broken, but anyway, it's up high. Now the biggest thing is we got a lot of clearance to our clutch lever here, so you see how that's not getting any of the cables up in there. The battery cable's way up high up under there, so when this goes across it doesn't hit it at all. You got a lot of room back in here too, which is what you want to see. I'm not sure how much you can see on the video, so you can see how nothing's in the way. The other thing you want to make sure is the oil tank is not eating on anything. So see, this cable just runs right across. It's not eating on the bracket or anything. So that's what you want to see over there. Go on the other side of the bike. Let me see what we got on this side. So this cable here, our hot wire. I don't know how in the hell that got jammed into there, but that's probably why it was fighting me on there so much. Okay, so now it's up here. See how there's nothing that's really jamming against. This just goes up to our battery post. And we gotta make sure it doesn't eat up against this. So we'll have to do something there. This is a sharp edge it will eat through eventually. So when you put the battery in here, you gotta see, make sure that's not dragging. If you do, you definitely gotta put some protective coating on there, tube or something. So you have to figure out what that's going to be. We can always push it down a little bit by bending it. like this with my thumb and shoving it down. And it can rub on the side of the tank, but it can't be across the edge. So it'd probably be alright like that. And it's up on top of the tranny, up under there. If you can see what it's hitting on. It's actually hitting on the bracket over here. There it is. So it's hitting on the mounting bracket over here, so it's not in anybody's way. Just kind of force it like that. It's thick cable, so it'll stay where you put it. Once you bend enough to take a permanent bend, it'll stay there. So that's pretty good now. This one, obviously, the ground wire is not important. So now you're ready to put a battery up in here and see what happens. We give this thing a little bit of a test. Usually I don't do this, but what the hell. We're wasting a bunch of time, as well have some fun, right? Okay, now this is a modern battery here, which has a lot of cranking power as opposed to the old crappy car batteries I used to have on here. They were definitely crappy. Let's see, I'm going to put all this stuff. Stack it over there out of the way. So that's a modern GYZ battery. So these are the highest output lead acid batteries you can buy, as far as I know. These things are heavy. One thing about a battery, the heavier it is, the more lead's in it. The more lead in it, the better the battery is. Okay, now you can see how this fits in the battery box fine, except it's too short. It's about the right height, but it's too short. Now if you make some kind of a plate under here, you can use this battery in here. You can also use the early FLT battery, which is your 90, or was it 79 or 80 something, to 97. The FLT battery is the same length as what stock battery is, except it's narrow like this, so you have to put a spacer back in here. The problem is these posts are reversed. So the positive comes here and negative comes here. When that happens, this cable's too short. Now if they put one of these batteries in there, then you just have to make a plate here to keep it from dropping down in the hole under there, like that. Now when you put the strap across here to hold everything down, it pushes on top of the battery and not the post. That's very important. Because you got these side covers right here that are supposed to be in here. Like this. It hides all this stuff. So it all has to have something to push against. So you got a couple options for batteries, but that's good. I don't like those sealed batteries, or not sealed, the lithium batteries, because they're not made to be charged and discharged and recharged and all that stuff that a normal motorcycle application does. So they tend to burn up. And they actually have a little bunch of crap on top of them inside. If you break a wire on the inside of them, the battery quits working. If you overcharge them, they melt. They have a lot of issues with them damn things. They sound great, but in the real world, they're crap. But anyway, someday they might fix them, but for now, they ain't worth their crap. Now this battery here, which is nice about this, is, besides it's got a lot of power, I think it's like 330 cranking amps or something. Something like that. Anyway, the post, it's a fully lead covered post. It's got a brass nut inside encapsulated in there. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. You got a screw on the side which is flush, not recessed in, like the earlier batteries were recessed. You'd have spacers. And you can also bolt it right on top, and it's flat across the top too. So you can put the cables down the side, up the top, right wherever you want. And it's got a really good strong post. They don't burn the post off like they do on the other bikes. So they thought ahead. It's 320 cranking it. Anyway, these things are heavy. So you got a lot of good options. They got a nice hardware, a little short if you got a lot of hard stuff on them, but for normal applications they're fine. Okay, now we got a battery bolt we're going to eliminate right here. Okay, we're taking off the stuff that was on the cable. I'm going to put it back on it so they identify that's a battery cable. They might not see it. So we only got two wires on this battery. We got a positive cable and a wire that goes up to your ignition switch. Now you always want to put the battery cable against the battery post so you have the most amperage load. Kind of important. Everybody likes putting Loctite on everything. The disadvantage of Loctite on a battery bolt is that you have an insulator in there now. Loctite's an insulator. We're trying not to insulate the battery. We want to put out maximum power. Okay, get my metric wrench. I have a 10mm wrench to work with batteries for some reason. Okay, post is fine. You can tighten these up pretty good too, which is good. You definitely want to tighten your battery post down so you don't have issues. Okay, see that one comes straight up from the bottom, and this one here can come right across the top because that's how this one's made. Now they got a big bolt hole on this one, which is not good, so it needs to have a washer. If I was keeping it up permanently, I have to put a flat washer in here to, because this has the wrong size cable. Now these are the old style thick ass cables you don't want to bend, which are not the good ones, obviously. The highly flexible thin wire ones are the way to go with, and thicker gauge are definitely the way to go. But that's not what we have here. There we go. Just cram it down on the top of it. Okay, we're tight. Okay, so now if everything works right, it should work. Appears to be working. Now, if we had oil in the oil tank, which we're actually ready to put it in there, the oil would go in here and we would crank it over until we got oil coming out of it. Either the idiot light would go out or it would come out this oil line right here. But so you see how it works here? It's good. The lifters go up and down. So anyway, there's no oil in the motor right now except whatever I had in here, just lubrication. Scooby? What's wrong, Scooby? You don't like bikes starting? So he's waiting for the bike to start. So, hey, look at that! I got it right to the top roll. Now the idiot light should work up here too. So you got all three are on because we're in neutral. We got oil pressure, and the generator does not work. And the headlight worked too. Look at that! Headlight came on. See, no light, light. See, a real ignition switch has a no light, light. That's how they're supposed to be. So when you start your bike, the light's not on. Once it's running, you turn the headlight on if you want it on. If you don't want it on, leave the damn thing off. So there you go. That's how real bikes are made. Alright. So it appears the wiring is now working. Like I said, if I put oil in the oil tank, this would start pumping oil, but we're going to leave it dry for now. Now the generator, we don't know if it's working. You have to polarize it. The way you polarize it is you touch the positive terminal from the battery to your armature terminal over here, give it a couple flashes, you go arc, arc, and that will polarize it. Now, if you're lazy like me, you gotta remember all of these wires here, they're right over here. Where's your battery terminal at? Oh, this is the battery, that's the armature. You just touch those two together and it'll zip, zip, and it arcs it. So we're gonna help this guy out a little bit. We're gonna polarize the generator for him. Okay, so you can come right off this post. Go right up here. Give it a couple arcs. Did you hear that little oomph over here when I first did it? It only did one. Alright, so you don't have to get it a couple times. The first time I hit it, I heard it go oomph over on the inside in there. That's usually all it takes. So now the generator is polarized. So he's good to go. Assuming this all works and this works, we should have working charging system now. There you go. So we didn't see if the lights worked on the back end. I didn't get that far. If the tail lights worked or not. I can't do everything on this bike. So, but the important stuff worked. Obviously, the brake switch is not going to work until you hook up brakes, but we don't have any brakes. So if you got another day to work on it, we get to put the brake on here and the footboards and some of the stuff laying over here. Try to get the rear brake pumped up, make it working. But for now, we're on day 0. Let's see, it's only almost 11. We get out of here early. It's not even the next day yet, so that's a short day. I think we started at 7 o'clock on this, 7:30. I forget. But anyway, that's how you do it. That's how the battery goes in. And anyway, that should give you guys what you need to learn how to work on these. So there you go.